Hello, everyone. Hopefully, all of you are doing well. Welcome to SIK Short Lectures. Welcome once again, an online learning platform that I've launched. So, today, this is going to be our second lecture, and we are going to discuss about Sustainable Development Goals, right? SDGs. So, Sustainable Development Goals, these are 17 certain goals. These are from the United Nations. And all of the sustainable development goals, they were declared in 2015, and all of them are set or expected to be achieved by 2030. So we will talk about sustainable development goals, but as we are dealing with something sustainable development, so we should know that what do you mean by sustainable development, right? So there is a very famous definition from World Commission on Environment and Development. The sustainable development is certain type of development which meets the requirement of the present generation, but it won't compromise the future. So this kind of development, or more precisely, sustainable development, will take care of both the present and the future generation. So let's go forward with SDGs. But as usual, I would like to share my screen with you. Hopefully, it's on. Right, yeah, it's on. So yes, this is going to be our today's lecture, SDGs. So here you can see the official logo of the Sustainable Development Goals. You can see the UN sign in here. So you can see some colors in between the O's of, here in the goals, you can see some colors in here. But you should know that it has some sort of significance. The significance, we will discuss about it later on. So let's go forward. So yes, we will talk about SDGs, but let's have a look a little bit on its history, that how did it come. So in 2015, SDGs were declared, but before that, when the world reached the 2000, the millennium, at that time, the United Nations, to celebrate that, to make the world a better place, it declared MDGs at 2000, Millennium Development Goals. There were 8 goals, and all of them were said to be achieved by 2050. You can see in here, these are MDGs, such as eradicate extreme poverty and hunger, achieve universal primary education. It talks about child mortality. It talks about improved maternal health, etc. So there are 8 total goals. So in 2015, the UN played a very diplomatic role. It didn't say that MDG failed or we couldn't achieve something like that. It said, or it introduced SDGs. So SDGs actually succeeded MDGs. MDGs were replaced by SDGs. So in 2015, MDGs were replaced by Sustainable Development Goals in a broader aspect with 17 certain goals and 169 targets. We will talk about the targets after some time. So now let's finally move on to the Sustainable Development Goals. These are 17 certain goals. You can see number 1, no poverty. Number 2, zero hunger. Number 3, good health and well-being. Number 4, quality education. Then gender equality, clean water and sanitation, affordable and clean energy, decent work and economic growth, industry, innovation and infrastructure. Number 10, reduced inequalities. Number 11, sustainable cities and communities. Then responsible consumption and production, climate action, life below water, life on land, and peace, justice, and strong institutions. So you can see that there are different colors. So each goal, it has some sort of a fixed significant color. From the goal number 16, you can see some sort of blue or light blue. You can see goal number 7 with yellow. You can see number 1 with red. And this O here, these are actually representing these goals. So this is a very nice thematic concept in here. So let's get back to SDGs once again. So you can see that Sustainable Development Goals, it has covered various aspects. It talks about the poverty issue. It talks about the hunger issue. It talks about education. It talks about gender equality. It talks a lot about environment. It talks a lot about sustainable cities. It talks about also justice. Everything is in here. So every goal has some certain type of targets. So if we dig deep into just one goal, such as this is goal number 6, you can see that if you go to the UNDP website or UN website, whatever, you will see that there are some background checkings, and these goals. I mean, why were these goals declared? Because there are some facts in here, some figures in here. 80% of the wastewater goes into the waterways without adequate treatment. Even 844 million people still lack basic drinking water even in 2015. That's huge. 844 million people, they still lack safe drinking water. So because of that, these goals were declared. So it doesn't mean that it is just setting a goal that we will achieve clean water and sanitation, but how? That is why it has also set global targets. So if you fulfill these global targets, you will achieve SDGs. So for the under the goal number 6, there are some certain targets. And one interesting fact about target is that we know that SDGs are set to be achieved by 2030, right? But there are some targets in here you can see. They are talking that yes, if there are some easy targets, we can achieve them earlier, maybe by 2020. So if you go to another goal like gender equality, you can still say some every goal has similar type of arrangement in here. You can see some facts and figures. 35% of the women have experienced physical or sexual violence. Only 77 cents for every dollar. I mean, women earn only 77 cents for every dollar than men get for the same work. So these are some awful facts and figures in here, and that is why this goal was set. And as usual, there are some targets in here, and in total every goal has some sort of targets, and in total there are 169 targets. So let's analyze the sustainable development goals once again. We will talk about some benefits and also the drawbacks of SDGs. So if you look into it here, you can see some positive side. The sustainable development goals, they're definitely good things, right? If you can really achieve these things, no poverty, zero hunger, quality education, good life on land, if you can protect the life below water, if you can tackle the climate change, then the world is going to be a better place. So that is why SDG is a very good thing, right? We can say that sustainable development goals, these are very much scientific and well structured. It gives you a certain ways that how to achieve these things. If you talk about the clean water and sanitation, if you talk about affordable and clean energy, it gives you some target that yes, if you achieve these targets, ultimately you will achieve sustainable development goals. And another big point in here, that if you compare the MDGs with the SDGs, you can see that SDGs have emphasized a lot on the environment. There are directly almost 6 goals which are directly on the environment: clean water and sanitation, affordable and clean energy, sustainable cities and communities, climate action, life below water, life on land. These are directly on the environment. There are also other goals like responsible consumption and production, industry innovation and infrastructure, good health and well-being. They are also greatly dependent, or they have emphasized a lot the environment. So this is a very good thing that in this generation, SDGs have come and it has really added a new dimension to the environmental protection. But yes, it has some drawbacks as well. It has some drawbacks as well. If we talk about SDGs, the number one is that it is way too ambitious often and worldwide. I mean, whatever you are talking about here, you are talking about perfect world. There will be no poverty, zero hunger, everything will be fine. But we live in the real world. So that's a challenge, really. The time limit is way too short. By 2000, within 15 years, it's quite difficult. That is another drawbacks of of the sustainable development goals. There are also some problems in it, such as the discrimination or discrepancies between the developed nations or the developing nations. There are some countries which have already achieved some part of the SDGs, such as affordable and clean energy. If you talk about the Iceland, they are producing 100% of their energy from the renewable sources. But the developing nations, they are struggling, right? Also the budget. You talk about environmental protection, whatever. Definitely the developed countries are higher in here. So that's another disadvantage of the sustainable development goals. There is every year, there is huge budget lackings in here. And the final challenge, or the biggest one that is being faced by the SDGs, is actually COVID-19. Well, COVID has changed everything, the whole structure of the world, the whole design, the economy, everything. We are wearing masks, using hand sanitizers. We are waiting for the vaccines. We don't know that when things will get changed. So that is why everything is quite education, the school colleges, they're shut down, right? So it has really posed a great threat to the SDG implementation, that whether we will be successful or not to achieve the sustainable development goals by 2030. But let's get into the conclusion that yes, there are some drawbacks, there are some advantages, there are some political factors, there are some influence from the United Nations, developed countries, whatever. But sustainable development goals, it itself is a good thing, right? Because if we can really achieve no poverty, or if we can fully achieve it, or if we can achieve it partially, even 50 or 60%, definitely our world is going to be a better place, right? So it is a good thing. I support SDGs, and I think that we all have the roles in here. So now you might ask a question that how can I help SDGs personally? This is something we are talking about nationally or internationally, but no, not really. If you talk about quality education, let's send our kids to the for the good education. If you talk about gender equality, let's help our women. Let's give them a space, respect them, let them work, and help them in the household, right? Avoid gender violence. If you talk about life on land, life below water, well, whenever we are going somewhere by ships, we can see the Buriyanga. It is being polluted by juice packets, chips packets. Let's just don't do it. Let's try, everyone, right? If you talk about quality education, I'm a university teacher, so it is my duty to contribute to that. So I'm trying my best. So all of us have the roles in here. The laws and regulations, whatever we talk about, nothing can make the world a better place unless we change our mentality. So let's just hope for the best. And as I say, I would like to conclude once again in this way, that if we cannot achieve it fully, SDG, if we can achieve it partially or just more than partially, then definitely we are going to get a better world. So I think let's hope for the best. And that's all for today. Thank you very much. Take care and bye bye.